Well, welcome again, everyone, to another workshop here at the Test Camp. This is Elementary Education Social Studies, and we're about to discuss how learning and practicing test skills will empower your test confidence. For those of you joining us live online, we wish you could be here with us in person, but of course you're welcome to contribute your comments anytime. We're going to include them right up here on the discussion boards, so thanks in advance for that. And if you join us directly through the Test Camp YouTube channel online, of course you can pause and restart or replay that video anytime. And again, this workshop is one of the 4 in our series for the elementary education tests. We'll discuss the different types of tests used in different states here today and how social studies is tested. Feel free to ask questions during the workshop. I'll repeat them for those who are listening to the recording. Now, the motto here at the Test Camp is prepare, practice, perform. How many of you here have been to some of our workshops either in person or you've watched them online on demand? Okay, so quite a few of you. So you know about this. You're beginning to prepare here today in this workshop. You practice the testing skills while learning the content over the training site. Then you expect to perform with test confidence. That's how it works. So beginning to prepare here at the Test Camp can gain you the knowledge about not only the test, but about yourself. It's the first step to becoming a skilled test taker. We start by learning the test blueprint, which provides pretty much all the information you need to fully understand a test. Assessing your knowledge of the blueprint is also a first indicator of how well you can perform on the test, because you'll know the content and you'll know the rules. All right, then we move on to My Study Plan. That's simply a schedule that includes reviewing and studying test content. And this is over at the training site too. You make your own plan, and that'll help you through the test skills training. Now, here's an overview of an elementary education test that's used in many states. Now, we can see here that this is just a single test that has combined 4 subjects. These areas are listed according to the percentage of questions on the test here in this table. If this is the test you're taking, it's important to know that social studies accounts for about 18% of the test, it says up here. All right, this is a single combined elementary test. You have 140 questions on the test. The time allotted is 150. So an average of just 1 minute allotted for each question. But you decide how you want to use your time. Now here's an overview of a different elementary education test, also used in many states. This test includes questions about teaching and has a subtest for each subject area. See the difference there? And those are 4 separate tests. All right. And the social studies subtest then, of course, has, you can see there, has 60 multiple choice questions, and the time allotted is 50 minutes. So an average of just under a minute for each question. And here's one more test that's used by some states. I see it up there. It's called multiple subjects. And you'll want to know which elementary test is required for your state. So you'll have to, check in either with a college or at the school district. You're either using a single combined test, or can you expect a test with teaching questions and a subtest for each subject area? You'll want to find that out, of course. But in any case, the first step to prepare is to identify the types of social studies questions you can expect to encounter on your test. Now, not the question format. We know that all the questions are multiple choice. What we're going to be discussing here today is the social studies competencies, the knowledge and skills that are represented in the test questions. And to get started today at the workshop, everybody's here it looks like. Let's go ahead and invest a few minutes at your tables to share your personal history with each other. You get it? History. A quick introduction around the table. When it's your turn, you can share one of these 3 things here. So you're either going to say, hello, here I am, so on and so forth. A significant event that's happened in your life, or a significant or important person, or when it's your turn, you might instead share something about a group of people who you think has been important in your life. It's going to be up to you. A significant event, person or group, and you just choose one. Okay? Do we have somebody who would like to go first at each table? Let me make sure we got somebody who's going to start us off. Show of hands. How about this table back here? Okay, just one to start an introduction to each table. I'll come around and listen to the discussion, and then come back up here when we think everybody's gone around and shared a significant part of their personal history. Hey, if you're joining us online today, live online, share a piece of your personal history and we'll include it up there in the discussion. So what are we talking about? Either an event, a person, or a group. And if you're joining us on demand by the Test Camp YouTube channel, this might be a good time to pause the recording and consider an event, a person, or a group that's been significant in your personal history. We'll be here when you restart the recording. Gotta get started. Okay, so we're back up here, everyone. Up here. All right, so you just finished sharing some of your personal history. Let's discuss how your history is similar to the history questions you're going to see on standardized tests. Expect test questions to be about what? Events, people, and groups. Now we're going to find that some are small groups, just a few people, and other groups are large, like entire civilizations. And in the history workshops here at the test camp, I wanted to show you this too. The discussion is more detailed about the significant people in some of the groups. So we get into quite a bit more detail. This is over at the history workshops. Okay, but to organize our knowledge for the social studies test about the events, the people, and the groups for history, we have to consider time, continuity, and change. That's how historians do it. Hey, think about your personal history. If you were asked to write your autobiography, right, the history of your life, you'd likely tell it as a story that unfolded over time, wouldn't you? And you'd include the first event, maybe where or when you were born, significant people who've come into your life, that sort of thing, significant events. All right, so that's called chronology. That's just simply history. The next term used in this description was continuity. And historians talk about this because they're saying things continue. And so continuity means those things that over time pretty much have stayed the same. So what has stayed the same in your life? Yeah, right over here. What's one thing? Your family, pretty much. There's been some changes, but pretty much your family stayed the same. Well, you're very lucky. Very good. How about somebody else? Your hometown. Okay, so you don't move very much. You stayed in one place. But for a lot of people, there is a lot of change, and change takes place over time in history. Have events changed in your life? Have people come in and out of your life? Of course they have. And sometimes change isn't easy. So, what will you be asked about in terms of United States history? What will you be asked about in terms of world history? These things: time, continuity, and change. All right, so we're going to look through some sample questions, not to find the answers though, but to learn and practice some test skills. So on that paper we provided for you there, where it says history, number 1 through 3, and you'll see why in just a minute here. Pretty much everybody ready over here? Okay, here's the first sample question. We always start down here at the answer set if you've been in our other workshops. So a lack of representation, high prices on commodities, excessive taxation, the treatment of tea makers. I wonder what they're going to ask us. We look up there in the top, up in the stem. Keywords and phrases. Okay, so what are they asking us about here? Yes, the Boston Tea. What is that? That is an event. Yes. So this is a history question asking about an event. Now on your paper, we're not going to write the correct answer here. What you're going to write is this: what is your level of confidence that you could find the correct answer here? Are you absolute? Yes, you are absolutely sure. Yes. Maybe. You're pretty sure you think you know the answer. Maybe you have it eliminated down to just 2. Or no, you're not really familiar with this event, so you're likely just to take a guess. So again, on your paper, number 1, yes, maybe, or no. Be honest. Here's the next question. Again, start with the answer set. Okay, then you look at the top for keywords. And this is a history question about what? Not events, but that's it. People, correct. So on your paper, number 2, write one of these words. What is your level of confidence that you know the answer to this? All right, here's sample question number 3. Starting at the bottom, then up to the stem, looking for keywords. So do you agree this question is about a large group of people in history, right? Or what they call civilizations. All right, so what is your level of confidence on this question? How well would you perform if the entire social studies test was based only on history? By show of hands, how many wrote down yes all 3 times? Let me see. Hands, anybody? Nobody. That is excellent. Very good. Being honest about your knowledge is key to passing a test. That's a good first step. Very good. All right, let's move on to the next competency. Here's the description. What is this competency? Yes, it is. It's geography, the study of places and the relationship between people and their environments. Questions were constructed to test your knowledge about these main concepts. Everybody familiar with these? Is anybody familiar with these? The 6 elements? Just a few of you. Okay, well then let's learn about all 6 elements. What test writers use as their guide to write questions. Expect to be tested about maps. Your knowledge about maps and maybe your ability to use and locate places on a map could be on the test. The next element is places and regions. So places like landmarks or maybe cities. Regions. What's a region? A territory, a country. Yes, or a continent, right. Physical systems. What in the world they mean here? A physical system. Well, they're talking about perhaps weather or hurricanes, maybe climate change. And although it might sound like science, how plants and animals depend on each other, right? It's a circle of life kind of thing. There you go. All right, the 4th element is human systems. How humans get around the physical structure of the planet. They get around differently when there's bodies of water or flat terrains or mountain ranges, that sort of thing. Okay, number 5. Element number 5 is environment and society. The effects of humans on the environment and the effect of the environment on humans. Both good and bad. And we have one more element here, one left. Wonder what it could be. Let's take a look and see. The uses of geography. So, understanding the history of geography in the past and in the present to prepare for the future. For example, preparing for a natural disaster. All right, so those are the 6 elements. So number 1 through 3 on your paper, and we're going to look at some sample questions built on the competency geography. Ready for number 1? Here we go. Start down there at the bottom. You know where to start. Yes, about maps, right. Would you absolutely get this correct? Maybe or no? Question number 2. Archipelago, atoll, isle, islet. And your level of confidence. Sample question number 3 for geography. Starting at the answer set down here. I saw you peeking up the top. All right, and your level of confidence. Now, we're going way too fast on these, I understand that. But we're not trying to answer the questions. We're just trying to determine our level of confidence and try to get an overview, kind of what the entire test is. Did anybody write yes 3 times, all 3 times for geography? Anybody? Good, nobody did. Okay, how about 2 times just to sneak in there? Yeah, a couple. All right, a few people got 2. All right. Well, you're becoming skilled test takers here. That's the way to be honest. All right, the next competency then is described this way. What is the competency? It is civics. You are correct. All right, does anybody know this guy? Oh, a few of you do? Okay. So would somebody mind explaining it? I'm going to tell the people listening in on the recording. Go ahead. Yes, like it says on his button, this is Bill. He's from an after-school television show. Do you remember the name of it? Schoolhouse Rock. There you go. Back started in the 70s, ran for 10, 15 years, went off, came back, and now you can find it on the internet. In fact, for those of you listening in, if you want to do an internet search, type in "I'm just a Bill." I'm just a bill. It's real cute. All right, today's bill is reminding you that these are the main concepts used to make test questions. So how government is designed to work, important documents, and issues related to citizenship. All right, ready? Number 1 through 3. Are you ahead of me on this yet? And we'll look through some sample questions. All right, civics question number 1. Start down here at the answer set. Your level of confidence. Civics question number 2. Yes, maybe no. And civics question number 3. Level of confidence. And again, of course, we're going way too quickly through these. That's not our goal today, is to find the correct answers. How did you fare with the civics questions? Ooh, all right, well, that might be an area to study, right? Okay. The final competency then is described this way. Can you name this competency? That's it, economics. And the main concepts are right there to see: production, distribution, and consumption. So when you're ready, we're going to look through some of the sample questions here. Everybody got that numbered 1 to 3? All right, here's the first sample question built on this competency: economics. Start down there at the answer set. Without taking too much time, how do you think you'd fare on that one? Example number 2, economy, accelerator, import, export. I wonder what they're going to ask about up there. Look for keywords. So just skimming through this, what is your level of confidence that you could work through the question and find an answer? The correct answer. Economics, example number 3. What is your level of confidence for this subject area here, economics? Did you get at least 1 yes out of 3? Good, a lot of us got at least 1. Very good. All right, well, here are the 4 content areas we've discussed so far. There is one more competency. Can you imagine what it is? Do you remember? Yes, teaching. So test questions built on this competency can comprise, we said, up to from 10 to 20%. 20% on the subject area exams. Depends on the state again. To prepare for teaching questions, you can join us in the Learning and Teaching workshop, or if it's better for your state, the Professional Education workshops. And you can expect that questions representing all the competencies are going to be mixed together. What you see up here is all mixed together. And that brings us to the subject of grades. A passing score for certification tests is generally about where? What are you thinking? Well, the passing score here at the test camp is 80%. And this is a good target score, one that will ensure you pass your test, because state certification pass rates are generally much lower, usually 70s, mid-70s, or even lower. Okay. Now look at this first one. This first test we looked at. Remember the combination test, 140 questions. So if that was your test, you'd need about 100 correct answers. That puts you in good shape for the other 3 areas. On this social studies subtest, you need to correctly answer about 45 out of the 60. On this test, you have 60 again. So again, about 45 correct answers would guarantee a pass. Let's look at this in a different way. If you were facing a test this year based on only one of the competencies that you see here, which one would you choose? So do you know what I'm talking about here? Which is your least challenging area and which is your most challenging area? And do you review your stronger areas first or the more challenging areas first? What's your plan? All right, talk it over at the tables and we'll compare your ideas as a group. Again, thank you again for those of you joining us today live online for sharing your thoughts, and we've been including them in the discussions. And if you're joining us on demand by the Test Camp YouTube channel, this might be a good time to pause the recording and list some of your thoughts about how you plan to review and study for your multiple choice tests like this in social studies. We'll be here when you return and restart that video. All right, pretty good discussions we've been having about the strategies for reviewing and studying. I think we can summarize by saying there's really no correct way to do this. Everybody does it a little bit differently. However, there will be a need to review and study for these tests. Yep, there's going to be a need to prepare. And speaking of preparing for this test, you've done that. You've joined this workshop, so you're off to a good start. Hopefully you've gained some knowledge here today, have you? Right? Learned a little bit about yourself, your test skills. Well, another way to prepare is to select the tools you might need, the most reliable resources for guaranteeing your pass on the test, and expect to see this sign along the pathways during your test skills training. Does anybody know what these are from, these signs? That's right, people who have gone before you. They leave encouraging messages, they leave warnings and all kinds of messages for you. But in this case, the message is avoid spending your time and money on expensive resources that you just don't need. They say commercial webinars are a good example. Avoid paying a fee for test information that's free and strategies that are free. There's nowhere to practice, so no sense in paying for that. They also have been mentioning expensive tutors and tutor companies that are trying to take money. These might be an option for more challenging tests, but you certainly don't need it for this. Overpriced study guides are also sold for profit. So they're warning you to be on the lookout for those. Have you seen the study guides out there? $40, $50 a piece. Many study guides are available either for free or very inexpensive. We'll show you in just a moment. And a more effective and inexpensive resource is textbooks. Once you know the competencies being tested, you can use textbooks to review and study the test content. It only really goes up through about, 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. All right. Over at the Training Center in the My Resources area, expect to find the most popular and up-to-date tools. And there you can see that the study companions, those are all free. They're all published by the test company, and there's a lot of good used study guides out there. So you really don't have to invest a lot of time or money on resources. What they're suggesting is invest in yourself, and I agree. Practice your test skills. Expect to gain confidence. Gain some personal independence. Your pass provides admission to these training areas that you see up there at the top is My Test. And that's the activity that gets you started. It helps you check your understanding of the test blueprint and everything we've talked about here today. You can also take a pre-test before you train right there in that first activity. This is the test camp problem solving system. The first step up there is finding the correct answer. Identify the type of question by the competency. Sound familiar? We've been doing a little bit of that today. So a lot of opportunity over there for you to make sure that you understand the competencies. Quizzes and tests provide an opportunity to practice your test skills while you're assessing your test content knowledge. And quizzes are based on the competencies. Take a look at that there for a moment. You can see we even break up at the top, we even break the history into two areas. So that helps you with knowing where to go and review and study. Yes, go ahead. Yes, several opportunities, questions and answers change randomly on each time you attempt a quiz. Right, and also on the practice test too. Over in the test area, we have those practice tests and that post test. Now that can earn you points towards a professional test certificate. That guarantees your success. All right, then expect to perform with confidence that comes from knowing that you have the knowledge, you have the skills, that you earned that during the training. So let's go ahead and get started. There's no better time than now to empower your test confidence.